morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Comic Talk. This is a show where I talk with top indie creators about whatever the heck I thought up in the middle of the week. So we have a great panel today of returning guests. So Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself. We will start with introductions.
Hi, my name is Matt Knowles. I'm one half of Insymmetry Creations. We write comics, graphic novels, metal music, host panels at shows, do all kinds of fun stuff like that. We just finished one of our Kickstarters. We have another one launching soon. We're on Backer Kits Holiday Market, but we'll talk about all that stuff later because I know you want to get to the rest of the introductions.
Yes. All right. So Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me, Ed. I'm Nick Edwards. I live in New York. I'm part of Unearthly Comics, and yeah, we try to make fun stuff that hopefully people like to read. And our latest book, The Apostasy, is currently live on Kickstarter right now until the end of the month.
Nice. All right, and Fred, tell us about yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Fred Schwartz. I am the writer-creator of Fisticuffs and the owner and operator of Schwartz Art. And here today to talk about our project. We have a Kickstarter active right now as well. Like Matt said, we'll talk about that a bit later, but excited to be here. And I'm actually kind of excited about a lot of the topics you chose because I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, I try to keep it fun. My whole goal with this show, I've said it before, was to make us not answer the same questions we always answer when we do those interview shows. Because you guys, I'm sure, like me, have been on those ones, and it's kind of like, tell me this, tell me that. You know, what's your origin? How did you come up with the ideas? And it's like, I've answered those enough. I wanted to make us think about other random things, and I'll throw people out of their comfort zone sometimes if you get non-musical people and you throw a music question at them, but none of those today. And Matt's the one I throw a musical question and he throws something I've never heard of, and I love that even more. It's like, you know what? Throw me a curveball because I am always here for that.
All right, well, when you get off of the show, you're going to go listen to some Grapefruit Astronauts. I've get into them recently. I think you're really going to dig them. Boom, there you go.
I would love to. That sounds great. All right, so our first topic today, actually, it's one we've done on the show before because I realized I can't write completely unique topics every single week when I do this weekly. But if you've never answered it, then it's new to you. So that's the good thing. So we're thinking about what science fiction technology do we want to bring into the real world? So we're seeing this science fiction technology. We think it's not so dangerous. We want to bring it in the real world and make it reality. So Matt, which science fiction technology do you want to bring in the real world?
Obviously, the thing for me that would be the most useful if we could have it, but also have some regulations on it, is teleportation. Yes. If you could teleport, then it would make, especially with me being in Florida, Steph being in California, the teams we work with all over the world, be like, hey, let's have a meeting with all of us right here. Let's hit the teleport button. Now, granted, there'd have to be some kind of regulations on it because you wouldn't want people just being able to teleport willy-nilly and all that kind of crap because, you don't want Fred teleporting into like your bathroom or something like that. Yeah. I mean,
non-teleportation zones. We need that.
That's right. Non-teleportation zones, Fred.
You've seen my failed attempts to get into your shower, Matt, right? Like,
only in my dreams, man.
Okay. I thought my teleportation was a little bit more clandestine, but I guess I failed.
Yes. But yeah, teleportation to me, I feel like would be a huge thing if it was ever something that could be regulated and actually useful.
I just feel like I'd get Brundle-flied for sure if teleportation came real. Like, damn it, I fucking didn't check the teleportation thing, and now I'm turning into an ant or, whatever insect happened to sneak its way in there. So we'd have a lot of Brundle-fly mutants in the world that didn't check their teleportation soon enough. Like, oh, damn, it's been infested by rats, and I didn't check. Damn it. You're the new Splinter. You're going to morph into something. So I guess there's the thing. I want teleportation, but regulations, and always check your teleportation device, or we can create a brand new comic about the mutants that develop because of teleportation. All right. So Nick, which science fiction technology do you want to bring in the world?
Fred stole my answer, honestly, but because that I feel like is objectively the right answer.
Yes.
But if I had to change it, maybe like self-driving cars that actually work. Mm-hmm. Like some sort of automated technology that would allow you to commute wherever and would actually be safe and widely adopted and like kind of foolproof. I think that would be really cool. I always thought like iRobot, that's a fun movie. Like seeing those like cars in there and how they like fold up into that crazy like parking garage that's like the ground or whatever. I would just yeah, that's pretty cool. So I'll say that one.
Yeah, I would love that with real self-driving cars. I mean, Vegas has those self-driving Uber cars, and
the Waymo.
Yes, like, there it is. And people are constantly being caught having sex in them. I guess it's the new Mile High Club for people.
That is kind of that's a benefit, I think. That's a, what do they say? That's a feature, not a bug, right?
One of the perks, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think I'm coming home late from a concert. I got to work the next day. It'd be beautiful to just be able to go to sleep, let the car get me home, and know that I'll make it home. So yeah, I'm here for that one too. So I'll take both of them. And that one, I don't know. I don't see the negatives except for if they get stupid and all of a sudden, something happens with the whatever's moving them and we're all trapped on the freeway. Traffic still doesn't matter.
Right.
All right. So self-driving cars. Yeah. I mean, I think they're coming sooner than we can possibly imagine. So we'll be just watching out there and sleeping in our cars. You would be seeing some crazy shit go down if you looked around on the freeway though. It wouldn't be like right now where you just see grumbling faces and maybe people singing along to music. Like you would see some stuff going down in self-driving cars. So yeah, that could
maybe
be
if they have like a self-driving, maybe if they have like a self-driving car lane, because that the speed would be regulated and all that kind of stuff. So maybe I can see that, if there was a lane that only self-driving cars could go in, that might help.
Yeah. I'm interested to see, because I think that one will be next. We're going to blink and that's going to be here. So Fred, what's one that you would pick?
Well, if I could get away with like kind of a 3-part answer here, because this question I've been thinking about a lot on a lot of levels. Number one, I know what technology I don't want, because you guys were talking a lot about traffic. I do not want precogs and pre-crime like Minority Report. I do not want thought police. I especially in traffic, like my frustrations and the way, like, oh my God, like if somebody were to like get inside my brain, like when I get caught behind one of those Florida slow drivers doing 25 and 55, like I'd be arrested in 2 seconds. So I definitely don't want that. The other thing that I was going to say is I've watched an amazing movie just yesterday, and I'm finishing it up today, that is kind of really about this. And I just checked the title of it. Have you guys heard of The Age of Disclosure?
No.
Okay, it's a documentary that came out recently. It's getting a lot of buzz that it's going to win like the best picture for documentary and stuff. But it basically like is like a kind of a whistleblow to an extent about like UFOs and how that whole system has been like covered up. I mean, how like it's presented with vetted like authorities. Like it's done in a real way that really made me like think about the fact. Like for the first, like last night I went to bed and I was thinking for the first time in my life, like, oh my God, like aliens do exist, and it's like that like interaction is like possible. And they talk about in that movie very specifically like the technology. When you guys are talking about like teleportation, they talk about how a lot of these things have this kind of warp energy around them. And that's why they, we have this issue. So that's the kind of thing that they are trying to reverse engineer now. So that's actually really way more close. And, I mean, maybe like 20, 30 years, but I mean, like the idea, like what they're talking about, how once they're able to crack that, like interstellar travel, teleportation, like you can be one area, like one place, and you can reduce time and space. Like you can just, eliminate that in a way that's like practical. So that was crazy to me to think that like all this stuff. So I just wanted to like throw that out there. If anybody has a chance, I am dying to talk to more people about this, because this is fascinating. Check it out. It's a great movie, and it's presented in a really like from a documentary filmmaking point of view, it's efficient, it moves, and it's clearly presented.
Nice.
To actually answer your question, I would say, the writer in me, the vanity part in me, would like some kind of like self-preservation. That's why I write, right? Like now that I know aliens exist, I'm really tantalized by the idea that one day they're going to come down and read Fisticuffs and be like, "Oh, this was awesome. This is how human beings live." So that's kind of why we write. I think is like to try to like live forever and kind of put something out there that's going to be like in the amber, like in Jurassic Park. So I would like to believe that there would be some way to kind of like download my, maybe not even download, some way to preserve my brain. Whether it was like through bionics so that my body lives and my brain sustains, or to like put my brain somewhere that it could continue to be productive. That in some kind of like abstract way would be kind of cool to me.
Man, that sounds kind of horrifying to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like that sounds like, I don't know, maybe like something out of Black Mirror. When I die, I don't want my brain to keep working. I just kind of want to.
Well, there's again another interesting movie from a few years ago. It's not as fresh on me, so I can't remember it. I can't quote it as well as the one I'm talking about yesterday. But there's like crude technology for that. Like they had a woman who put in like a lot of her like base information, and they created like a computer program that was close, like a reasonable approximation of her. And it's crazy to think about. So that's why that idea is like kind of in my brain, that it's kind of an extension of like why we write. Like I write this comic so that I'd like to believe that somewhere down the line it's like important to somebody. So the idea that like that, I could do that longer than, however much time I have left. I don't know. I think that's kind of intriguing to me. I don't know how that would work in practice and ethics, but I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know there is a Black Mirror episode where they upload into kind of like a computer mainframe and live through that. So I guess that's something, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but I don't know. Usually in Black Mirror, it doesn't go right and you realize it's a bad idea. But I think the San Junipero one, it's not so bad for them. It's not like some of the ones where you're just like, oh man, this technology is going to ruin the world. But yeah, I don't know. For me, I mean, of course, I go last, though. The good answers are all taken, but I'll just take, I love the idea of flying cars. I mean, we saw it in Back to the Future. We were promised it, what was it, 2015? We were supposed to have those flying cars based on Back to the Future 2. So, I mean, self-driving flying cars that can move at the speed of an airplane. So maybe we can't teleport, but I can be to New York in, 5 hours if I needed to go do a con out there, and you just load up your car and not have to worry about trying to get all your books packed in your check bags in the airplane. So yeah, just give me the flying cars that move at quick speeds and can get me around the country. Although then we're gonna have traffic jams in the air, so it's never gonna be perfect. And then hurricane, your car just blew away. So I guess there's always the bads of that one.
I mean, drunk drivers, that's always
yeah. But if they're self-driving, it's like, all right, drunk driver, you just sleep and don't ruin the world, so it'll be good.
You just you mentioned Back to the Future 2, so can I actually change my answer completely?
Go for it.
Hoverboard.
Yes.
Just straight up, just hoverboards.
Not those lying ass hoverboards.
No, not wheels. The ones on 2 wheels that suck. The cool hoverboards, like one that actually floats off the ground. And sub answer his Nike mags that like self lace or whatever, like the coolest shoes ever. Those for sure. So double, Back to the Future 2. Great vision of the future. Yeah. So Back to the Future 2. I'd love a hoverboard because when I heard hoverboards, and then the kids I was teaching were like, oh, I got a hoverboard. I'm like, that's a lie. That is not a hoverboard. So a proper one. And I haven't been able to balance on a skateboard for years, but I'll reteach myself how to balance on a skateboard if it's actually hovering. Good morning, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
I'll be with Sarah on Monday. We're going to be talking about Wicked on her show. I'm actually going tomorrow to see it and hopefully not be in a theater full of screaming singers and, just cringing the whole time. So
now that sounds like science fiction that you're believing that you're not going to be in that kind of theater. Come on.
I know. I picked an early showing on a Sunday, so I'm hoping that the singers are still asleep, but I don't feel like I'm going to be that lucky, especially on opening weekend. So I'm just going to have to just deal with it and hope that some of them have tolerable voices and not like dying cats. So yes, we'll see. So I think all of us have been on your show. I don't think I've had my feelings hurt by your co-hosts. I think we've been okay. I mean, your co-host counts my tangents, but that's okay. I mean, someone needs to. And I think I reached 15 when he gave up. Like, this guy cannot go in a straight line. But I'm like, that's what makes it fun, not knowing where anything's going to go at any given time. So my feelings aren't hurt. So
who doesn't love a good rabbit hole?
I don't think I've had my feelings hurt at all. Or perhaps I'm immune to it because
Gotta have a
did.
thick skin.
Yeah, you gotta have a thick skin. I teach students and they say some mean shit, and if you took it to heart, you'd be crying. I mean, oh man. One of my students the other day said, "Shut up, you fat hog." I'm like, damn, I work hard on my physique. That's messed up.
Wow.
To you?
Brutal.
To me, yeah. So
Wow.
it's like you gotta have a thick skin for the children nowadays. I'll say that much. So, yes.
My goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think our feelings got hurt. I think we just got yelled at by Pops for going too long. So I think that's what happened. Like Pops is like, we got other shows on this network, you inconsiderate dick. But you know, it was okay. That didn't hurt my feelings either. So, all right, let's move on to our next topic before I fall down another rabbit hole. So this is something I was thinking about the other day. How are comics going to adapt and change over the next few years? Because I was reading about a few different kind of technologies that comic books were trying out. So what do you think's going to happen to comics over the next few years, and to keep the current, the younger audience interested? Because I'll have to say the younger audience, they don't really buy floppies. They're not going to the comic store. The comic store is guys like us. You know, it's your 35 to 65-year-olds who grew up going to the comic shop, and it's kind of routine for them. But what's going to happen for the kids that are out there to get them interested in comics and make comics part of their lives, where we can still tell the same stories, but how's the technology going to look different? So Matt, what are your thoughts on this one?
So for me, I think that everybody that writes comics has to think with this mentality. And I learned this from the music side of things quite a while ago. When bands were just putting out CDs, they're like, you have to look at your CD as like the audio business card. You can't think you're going to make all of your money or have all of your impact just from the CD. It's like the CD is kind of like the gateway to get you into all the other IP items that you have out there. Mm-hmm. And I think that for comics in this day and age, where everybody is so used to having something on their phone, or be able to flip back and forth between videos here, on something on TV or something on their tablet, that a physical paper comic has to be a gateway into other things that you're doing, and kind of have a cycle where the other things are going to help support by creating money to be able to make the paper comic. Paper comic is going to help to open people up to the next thing. Yeah. So to me, it's finding ways to make sure that you've got, video trailers and other things like that. And I could go far deeper into this, but I don't want to take up everybody's time. I just think that people need to not get stuck in how things were. Hey, I'm back in the 80s, back in the 90s, you can go down, you can make a killing off of making comics. Well, back in the 80s and the 90s, we didn't even have cell phones. We didn't have streaming video. We didn't have PDFs. We didn't have any of that stuff. We didn't have TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. So you have to make sure that you're getting your IP and your name in front of people in every possible way that you can, that can also support your paper comics.
Yeah. So that's very true. So what do you think, Nick? How are comics going to adapt and change over the next few years?
I think we're just going to see digital readership continue to increase, especially through like subscription-based sites, whether that's like, Comixology or, Global Comics or any of those other, subscription-based sites. Everything's a subscription now. So I think that's part of it. But something that I think is really interesting, like if you go into really like any bookstore in the US right now, like what used to be like probably 75% Western graphic novels, 25% manga is now like probably flipped, right? Like, and we're seeing like manga is so wildly popular and like more like, taking up bigger and bigger market share and like more and more shelf space. And I think some Western publishers are trying to respond to that through like what DC's doing with like their compact comics line right now, like putting out those like digest sized books and everything. Marvel's doing something like that too. And Image and some other publishers like that. So I think they're going to try to answer to like, manga and Eastern comics in that way, but I think mostly we're just going to see, digital stuff increase. I also, just one other thing is something that I'm unhappy about, but I feel like is going to come around more and more, is an increase in blind bags, which I hate. I think we should keep gambling out of comics, but like it just seems to be like, DC's doing it with DCKO, Marvel's going to be doing it with Ultimate Endgame. Mark Spears just did one with like 35 variant covers or something like that. Like, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not even somebody who hates gambling or anything like that, but it just, I feel like that's a trend that people are going to be chasing for a bit.
Yeah, those blind boxes are so hot. I mean, the kids that I'm teaching, they all love buying the Labubus and the blind boxes and just all the different little collectibles. Like, okay, here's a whole bunch of Stitch things, and I'm with you. I hate the idea of that because I just want to buy the thing that I'm buying and know what I'm getting. And I know there's also those kind of like Loot Crate and stuff like that they mail you blind boxes, and there could be kind of a looking at a formula that it's comic books and they send it in a blind box. But yeah, I'm with you. I want to know what I'm getting. I mean, I guess I used to buy packs of baseball cards, but at that point you kind of know you're getting some cards from the set. It's random, but you could hit that one thing. But where if you're trying to build a set of little, mini Stitch figures and you're missing one and you have to keep buying blind boxes to get it. I mean, sure, there's eBay, but it's a pain. So I could see it going that way because that is something that the kids do love. And, that's where you got to look at what do they love? Capitalize on it. That's why I have graded copies of my book, because I know that there are graded collectors, the graded book collectors, and they will buy my book. They won't read it, but they want that graded copy. So you have to adapt to what the people want. Even if we think it's dumb, it's not for us. We're not the one buying our own books.
I can tell you my daughter is a huge K-pop collector, and looking at that industry, this goes back to the blind bag thing. She's like, yeah, I got to go get this CD. I got to get the CD. I'm like, how many copies of that CD do you have? She goes, oh, I've got 10 of it. I'm like, why do you have 10 of that CD? She goes, and she showed me, it's like, it's not 10 of the CD. There's different variations in there. They have their trading cards in there. They're called their pretty boy papers is what they're called, which is just makes me, but she's got her own little side business where like there's people that want these little pretty boy papers, and she's basically what her side business is helping her to fund going out. How much you just spend? Just I spent $150 getting more K-pop CDs. I'm like, where do you get the money for this for? But she's funding it with the secret blind bag kind of thing. So it's just a weird trend. I agree, Nick, that we haven't done that. That's not really the thing that we want to do. But yeah, there's just a big market for that right now, which is very interesting.
I mean, yeah, the demand for it is kind of undeniable. And look, like I've bought variant covers for books. Like I bought like probably more variant covers than I want to admit, right? But I don't know. I do think, and to the analogy about like comparing it to like a pack of trading cards or whatever, that's a good point too, right? There's like a little bit of like, if you want to call it risk or whatever, of like buying that without knowing what you're getting. Sure, it's just I don't know. Some about the blind bags with new issues though just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But the demand for it's undeniable, and you're right. If there is a market for it, there are going to be people that capitalize on that because that's the world we live in. So a little maybe old man yelling at clouds of me, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and adapting is the key for any of us to succeed because markets change. And yeah, I mean, there's always going to be people our age, the old men who do yell at clouds, who will buy floppies and only floppies, and that's great. But you want to get more different eyes on your table when you're at a con, because if it's just people that the standard comic collectors that walk up, that's great. But the more eyes you bring, the better chance you have at actually getting success. Because I mean, cons are so expensive now. You have to find ways to even make your table sometimes is hard. So having something that the other guys don't is your key. So Fred, what do you think? How are comics going to change in the future?
So I'm coming at this from a very different point of view than you guys, right? I'm very new to the industry. This is only my second Kickstarter campaign, so I haven't like been able to see a lot of like how things have, been from a point of view of like being in comics and marketing stuff, and then they change over the years and stuff. So I guess my point is like I don't have the the like insight into this that maybe like Nick, Matt, and you do. I'm coming at this from the point of view of like just a bit of a like wide-eyed optimist idealist. So
Yeah.
To that end, I'm a little bit like uncertain on like where comics are going. I mean, I heard somebody the other day talking about the idea like that AI and things are going to make entertainment so self-tailored to the consumer that like the idea of going out and picking up a floppy that somebody else wrote might become almost like the idea of picking up vinyl in this day and age. And that really kind of like, it kind of like kicked me in the teeth a little bit. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I mean, this already feels like a Herculean task to get your stuff out there and to get eyeballs on it. And the idea that market's going to shrink even more, more so is scary because, I don't know where that's headed, but I guess, again, coming from the idealist standpoint, I watch a lot of documentaries and things like that. Todd McFarlane always talks about how he doesn't think that comics will ever go away because at their core, they're just another variation of words and pictures. So no matter what, we're always going to, have a version of that, since the cave drawings, that's what people kind of, we want to believe that our lives matter and we want to believe that we left something behind to leave record of. So I kind of like my goal is to kind of like, as I'm getting into this, I don't know, it's still very new, but to kind of follow the trends as far as I can, but not put too much investment in them, if that makes sense. Like, I've, I'm new to making comics, but I've been a fan, my whole life. And like, I've seen the stuff swell and crash, like the collector's boom and all the variants in the 90s. My poor brother was a victim of the Beanie Baby fad. Like he was working. We worked at a flea market, and there was a Beanie Baby peddler there who, after he would get his money for the day, he would sell him on the new exclusive one and shit. And he thought he was going to pay for college with that. So these things kind of, like swell and fall apart. I mean, even, when Matt was talking about the collectability of the K-pop albums, I was immediately thinking that how I was acting like, 8 to 10 years ago with the Funkos, I would chase them and collect them and sell one to pay for the other and stuff like that. And you read in the news the other day that Funko estimates that they have like a year left before they go under. Yeah. So all these things kind of like rise and, swell and whatever. So I guess I just, I'm naive still. I still believe in trying to put like, me on a page, and that's what I'm trying to sell. And to Matt's point, I'm beginning to realize, and Pops too, like I've been talking to Pops, since I did a few of these shows, and it's like, you're not just selling the fisticuffs, right? But you're selling like the whole, you're not just selling the comic itself, but you're selling the whole, the personality behind it, the story behind it, and all of that too. So, I'm trying to now branch out and add more things to my table because fisticuffs is like adult heavy. I just recently started doing cons with that and shows, and I would feel bad when like I would have like young people come up and I'm like, I can't talk to you about this. I'm not going to sell it to you. Yeah. So it's nice to kind of, now we have like these little like we have like a fairy character that we can make like little magnets of, and kid, I can't talk to you, but here, take this. It's cute, and one of my next projects I want to do is like, I have a personal take on a children's book, and it'd be cool to kind of have that and kind of, bookend myself with like, crazy vulgar stuff and this. So I guess what my point is like, I'm trying not to second guess it, but I still think I'm probably naive and I should be more aware of this stuff than I actually am. So I'm cautiously optimistic that just storytelling will prevail, but who knows with all that's coming. So,
well, and I think too, Fred, what you're saying, I mean, you said it's your second Kickstarter and all that. You have to build a foundation somewhere. So you can't be like, hey, where am I going to take my variations before you build your foundation? So I think it's probably smart for you to be like, I'm going to build a foundation. It's kind of like saying I'm going to have a variant cover before I have a standard cover.
Right. Right.
And, if you go back to what Nick said a little bit earlier, just look at newspapers. Newspapers are a perfect example. I remember when I used to work in a grocery store, you'd have like 5 newspaper boxes lined up out front. You'd have like 3 or 4 local papers, and you have a Miami Herald, and then you also maybe have the New York Times or USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to go anywhere now where you've got multiple paper copies of a newspaper out there, but you might go online and find USA Today and New York Times and Miami Herald. And I guarantee you that if you try to go to the Miami Herald right now, you got to subscribe to read any freaking article.
Yeah, it's not free.
Right. So people have adapted their plans. They're still writing, they're still creating, but they know that the main market is not going to be people going to a newspaper box outside their grocery store.
Yeah.
It's going to be people going onto their device or onto their computer and getting it there. So they've had to adapt to get that content into people's hands.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, go ahead, Fred.
I was going to say that's the other thing that I'm picking up. By the way, like what I really like about being on this show, besides like, is listening to you guys talk about from experience, because like I'm like paying attention and picking things up. And oh shit, I lost my train of thought. That happens.
You were saying you really like all of us and you think we're really smart.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
You guys are great. You know, but I guess what I'm saying is like you like, oh, okay, now I remember. So as I'm like, you know, getting into these things and I'm talking to you guys and listening to people that are further along than me, like my eyes are being open to things that like I wasn't aware of. Like, for example, I thought like everything relied and, you know, died on like the success of the comic. And while that's important and stuff, I hear other creators talk about how like, yeah, I have that, but I also have a stream of income from this and a stream of income from that. And like, you begin to realize it's almost like, you know, like Matt's, you know, like shirt there, like it's a bunch of like tangents and stuff, but it all funnels back to the middle, which is again, what, you know, is the story that we're telling and producing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that's the core of everything is going to be the story. It's just how it will be delivered is what's going to change. And I can imagine something that's going to connect with VR, because VR is getting more and more popular, and our comics could be adapted to VR. You could have the backgrounds become interactive. You could be telling the same story, but with a VR thing where they're having to swipe through pages, where we, you know, when digital comics first came out, people hadn't seen anything like that because you read on the page, and then now it's digital. So I could imagine adaptations turning the VR, the backgrounds of our books into something more three-dimensional and interactive, where kids are swiping through the book. Still, maybe the dialogue's being spoken by someone, maybe they're still reading it, because we're, as indie creators, we don't have infinite money to pour into something. So if a VR book came out, we would have the poor man's version of it, but still something for those kids to go through. And that's something I don't know, I overheard it somewhere, and that's what brought this topic up, was someone was saying, oh yeah, VR comics are coming. And I thought that makes sense, because it fully would immerse you into this comic book, but it's still, like Fred said, it's immersing you in the story. It's still about your story. All the bells and whistles don't matter if your story's crap. And they're not going to flip through a bad comic. They're not going to flip through a bad VR comic. We tell the story, and how it's delivered isn't what's going to matter. It's going to be, are people going to be talking about your story? So yeah, that brings up my one cool thing. My friend's a college professor, and he said the other day, they were talking in their class about dystopian books. He's like, yeah, I'm reading this book, Immortal Era. He's like trying to be like, I'm the cool indie guy. My professor's like, dude, I went to college with that guy. He's one of my good friends. So it was funny when someone name dropped my book thinking they were being the cool indie guy. And he's like, no, I know him. So
You're like,
because Matt name drops the good bands that I need to check out. And it's like when someone's like, oh yeah, I play bass in that band. Like, never mind. So yeah, he said I got cool street cred for one day in my class, when the guy's like, what, you know that guy? So it's like, wow, I'm just impressed that someone actually knows my book in the real world. I mean, you know, it's out there, and that's the thing. The more you spread your books out there, the more it's in the real world, and people are talking about our books. And now we just want to find ways to get more people talking about it, especially the kids, because the kids are the hardest ones to hook in. And if we can find a way to adapt it to VR, I think that's going to just unlock even more. And yeah, and I'm working on trying to adapt my book into Braille, and it's trying to make it Braille, but not just Braille. I want it to feel like a real comic book still, because my brother went blind, and he had vision, so he knows the real experience of a proper comic book, and just having your script adapted to Braille is not the same. So I want to find a way to kind of make it feel like it's still a comic book experience for him.
Like a topographic map almost.
Yeah, kind of like that. And it's something I'm working on. It's very slow going because I'm kind of taking something that doesn't exist and trying to bring it out there. So that's one of the ways I'm trying to adapt comic books for people that can't just read a comic book the way that, you know, a normal person would. So it's something I'm thinking of, and just always thinking of ways to make our books adapt more. Because even the last con I was at, I had a couple blind people come to the table and they're like, we'd love to read it, but do you have it in any kind of form that we could read in? And it's like, you know what, this idea is, it's always there, and I just got to push it through and make it work.
That's really cool. That's really, really interesting. I wonder if something like almost the equivalent of like closed captioning, you know, like I know people with vision issues will use like screen readers and stuff like when they're reading digitally or anything. So I wonder if it would be like, I don't want to use the word simple, but as straightforward as like taking the panel descriptions from your script and like essentially making them into like image alt text or something like that. That's really, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. You'd have to have it kind of be an audio visual thing as well as, you know, the braille that they could actually read. But yeah, you could have the book read to them with your panel descriptions and things like that, but having it more like Fred was saying, like a topographical map where you could feel the images on that page. I mean, it would be taking a graphic novel and adapting it that way. It would be huge. It would end up being a huge thing, but would it bring people who had vision at one time and lost it, would it bring them closer to that experience they used to have when they read comic books? And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is someone like my brother who did read comic books, bringing it back where he can still have that feeling there, instead of just, you know, a lot of what they have is just the script in braille. And that's,
I think you'd also be able to corner. I think you'd also be able to corner a small market that may not even exist right now, but you'd be able to create it. Hey, you know, if you have vision impairment and you want to be able to read a comic, somebody would be like, hey, I've never read something like that before, but that sounds pretty cool. I mean, you could literally be the industry leader in that to start the trend.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there would also be, for like sighted people, like a novelty aspect of it. Like, you know, the idea of like kind of having like another version of it that's like, you know, tangible, that you can touch and it would feel, you know, different. I don't know much about this kind of stuff, but I'd imagine like, you know, with 3D printer technology, like there's got to be a way to, you know, figure something like that out, but I don't.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's just my limited knowledge of how to do things like that. I have all the ideas, but kind of like I have all the pictures in my head, but when I try to draw them, they become a stick man. I have the ideas for this book, but how do I make it something tangible for the world? So that's one of the ways I want to do it. So if anyone out there has ideas, let's collaborate, because it's something I will do before I stop creating comic books, but it's just someone that has a little bit more knowledge in the fields of how to print this book, you know, hit me up, please. All right. So yeah, Sarah. Yeah, 3D printed comics. Yeah, there's all these new things, and we just gotta hit that and make it work. So now the last thing that we're gonna talk about, I put this subject up because this week I was like, when the hell am I gonna squeeze in time to write when I'm doing this, that, and the other thing? And that is, how do you balance creation and, I don't know about you, and a day job? Because I have a day job. I mean, if we're able to retire from our day job and just create, that would be beautiful. But since most of us can't do that, how do you balance your creation and just your obligations to keep a roof over your head? So Nick, we'll let you go first on this one. How do you balance that?
Well, so something I've been doing, I keep a daily journal, and I've done that for like every day for the past like 5 years. So that just is like it's like a centering exercise. And, but it like, I don't necessarily view that as creativity. That's more just like how I kind of like editorialize my thoughts. Right. Mm-hmm. When it comes to like actually being creative, I just, so I've always felt like with any sort of creative aspect, like ideas are the easy part, and it's the actual discipline of like applying yourself and like sitting down and like, whether it's writing, drawing, making music, like whatever, it's just like the actual sitting down and doing it is the hard part. And that's what I think separates even like, you know, small indie guys like us from like 90% of the population who just, doesn't do that or chooses not to do that. I really think it's just that discipline that sets it apart. So, I mean, definitely. There are some days where like I finish work and I like the last thing I want to do right now is like sit down and write. Like this sucks. But it's just, I don't know. You kind of just gotta get over yourself and do it honestly, even when it's not fun. Because if you I don't know, if you're waiting around for it to feel good, you might be waiting for a while. So it's just I think just extending yourself in that way, getting a little bit uncomfortable.
I think that's what it takes. Because I mean, think of how many countless people, I don't know if you've done a lot of cons, and people will come to your table, I have a great idea for a comic book, and I want to create a book, and they say, what should I do? I'm like, write that book.
Write it.
I said, step one, write that book, and then come talk to me again. And then so many of them like, oh yeah, I don't have the time and the blah. I'm like, there is what separates the I'm going to do this from the ones that have some books sitting in front of them at a table.
I'm a big believer in that people make time for the things they care about, right? And so if you really care about something and if you want to do it, then you'll find the time. And so many people come up, I have a great idea for a book, or I've got an awesome idea for a comic. And I say, and like maybe they'll share it, and like I'll even think like, oh, that is a good idea, right? Like you do it, like that's a great idea, like make that book, like that's exciting. And some people do, and that's great, and so many people choose not to. That's a little disappointing sometimes.
Because there are great ideas that are just gonna die in their heads. And it's like I tell them, just write. Every time you can squeeze it in, do some writing. So that's hopefully that some of them take the advice and actually you look at them and see them next to you at a show one day.
Exactly.
All right. So Fred, what do you do? How do you balance all the act of creating?
So I'm, again, coming at this from the perspective of somebody that's new to this. Balance is something that, like me personally, I've struggled with my whole life, right? Like it's something that I've always kind of like talked about. Like one day I'm going to find balance and so forth. And I am getting better at it, right? But it's like still, I'm still a very streaky person, right? Like I was, full disclosure, I have like bipolar and, some issues like that. So I've always been a very like manic person and stuff. So my old professor, and that too. Yeah. So I had an old professor once that like picked that up about me very quickly. He's like, like when I was doing Back to the Art of all things, Matt, he was like, you are, you're very hard to get moving, but once you start moving, you just are, kind of relentless. And that's kind of how I am. Like, I'm very, even now today, like the last few weeks I've been doing the Kickstarter aspect and it's hard to take that hat off and put on like sit down and be creative because it's a different kind of brain. It's a brain that I'm not used to. Like I'm very comfortable like writing a story and like expressing myself with like, in that way. This stuff I'm getting a little bit more comfortable at because I've been doing it more, but for the most part, like I'm still not, I still have that, struggle with that. So it's hard for me to kind of like, put one thing off. I mean, I've heard other artists and people talk about, and I don't know if you guys have this too, that 4 a.m. energy where like sometimes like, if you are like, you're up late and all of a sudden that's when you get the inspiration and that's when the stream of consciousness, whether it's, I think there's something to that, right? Whether it's the quietness of like, the outside world, the isolation or whatever it is, like you're just left alone and whatever. The problem with that is when you're up at 4 a.m., there goes your balance for the next day. So it's like, it's really hard to kind of like be streaky. And even in a personal life, like I've never had a long-term relationship. I've never, because I've always been into doing something, right? Whether it's like the job I had, or unfortunately, I had a long addiction that I'm over now, but we're not over, but dealing with, and whatever. But, like I would always have like, like something that was, I was unable to like divide my focus. So almost like Nick, I don't journal, but I have this is, a little joke, like 10 years old. It's probably not amusing to anyone, but me 10 years ago, but I have what I call the STD list, right? My to-do list, right? So I just organize.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You guys. Glad I
It's like
I clarified that very quickly.
But people were thinking a different list on that one.
Yes.
I'd be like, oh man, I'm sorry that you have a whole list, man.
Yeah.
Like Fred's been into
like,
some shit. That's all.
Let's hope somebody does not go and turn that into a quick little TikTok 5-second thing. Fred Schwartz, my SDT list done, gone.
Yeah.
No context whatsoever.
Yeah, and I also write a lot of stories in hospital rooms, Ed. So it's
Hey.
but no, so like I organize that way. But even when I do that, right? Like sometimes I find like I'll have like Kickstarter stuff, creative stuff, like Kickstarter responsibilities, creative responsibilities, like day-to-day responsibilities. And like when you get immersed in the Kickstarter responsibilities, you'll look up in a week later, like the day-to-day responsibilities, that list hasn't really been touched. So
yeah,
I'm not like a very good example. It's probably one of my fatal flaws. Like I don't have very good balance. I don't have that. I think like, most people and most creatives, we just kind of go into battle with the army we have, not the army we wish we had. So this is kind of how I am. And I kind of try to figure out how to be productive and continue to get more productive, with these, I guess, limitations that I'm trying to break past, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So how do you do it, Matt?
So I've got a couple of things to say here. So Nick, when you talked about journals, one of the things that I do is I just have a little notepad sheet, and every little menial task, every huge task, whatever, is all listed on this notepad sheet. And I track every single thing I do from a business perspective every day. Got to send an email. Got to make sure to send Ed a link, whatever it might be. And I track all those things, because that way you don't get stuck in your head and to get to the end of the day and go, man, it doesn't feel like I did anything. Because you could look over at your list and be like, dude, I got these 12 things done that were they could be menial. They could be, I lettered this page, I flatted this thing, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So that helps to always having that list there always helps to kind of bring us back centered to be like, hey, we've got to make sure we go and do the editorial reviews on pages 14 through 17. Where are you at with that stuff? Matt's got to do this. Okay, this is where I'm at, got these things done. And when I get to the end of the day, everything that didn't get touched now becomes the start of the list for the next day. And I try to keep things very, very granular like that. When it comes to how to balance other things, I'm kind of like Fred, where I've always got to be doing something. I've flatted a lot of our stuff. I probably flatted about 80% of our stuff for the last 7 years, I think. But I do that when I'm sitting watching television late at night and I've got my tablet in front of me and I'm just not even thinking. It's kind of like therapeutic. I don't have to be thinking about it. It's muscle memory, getting the flatting done. And it kind of keeps me awake so I can watch TV and all that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to outside work, the thing I do mostly outside of the house right now is referee soccer. I referee USSF soccer. I referee high school soccer right now in Florida. This is the big high school soccer time. So a couple weeks ago, I had games 6 days in a row between adult leagues, high school. So I have to go into my work day on this stuff knowing, okay, I've only got 4 hours today before I've got to go out to go, drive an hour away to go referee soccer. What are the things that have to get touched right now? What are the things that I'm going to be pissed off when I wake up tomorrow morning if I didn't touch those things today and start making sure I work on those things? And I honestly, there's times I find where the days when I have less time to do stuff, I get more accomplished because I know in my mind, you've got to compartmentalize and fit everything you got to do in this. You got to work your ass off, get those things done, and then go from there. Days where I'm like, hey, I can sit here for 12 hours. I might be like, well, I'm going to go, get into the rabbit hole. And I'm like, dude, I just, went down 27 rabbit holes and really didn't get as much done because I felt like I had too much time to get things done. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's the things, making sure that I track every little menial thing so that I can go back and look at everything I accomplished in the day, and then making sure I know how much time I have and what things are going to be the main things to get fixed in that day so that I don't go to bed feeling like I left some stuff on the table.
Yeah. I love that idea of writing it down. I have to do something like that because, I mean, I do a lot of my time is when I'm on break at work. I look at my break time as I gotta get some creativity in here, and I keep notepads everywhere because, like Fred was saying, that 4 a.m. energy. Well, make sure you got a notepad next to your bed if you wake up, because that idea is not going to let you get back to sleep. It's as simple as that. That idea is gonna just keep you wide awake. And I find that if I wake up, roll over, write it down, then I actually can get back to sleep. You just you get it out of your head. So when you have the 4 a.m. energy, have a notepad everywhere. I keep one in my classroom. I keep one in my car. And if I'm going to a concert or something like that, I go to a lot of different concerts, and I've done live recordings for different bands. Like they hire me to go in and do recordings because LA charges ridiculous amounts of money to let a band patch into their soundboard. So they hire someone like me. And if I know, okay, the show starts at 8, well, I'll leave work at 3. I can go and get a little bit of writing done. So mine is squeezing it in. And Fred was saying hospital waiting rooms. Well, I knew I was going to be stuck in waiting rooms all day. So I thought, why don't I just do something productive? Now, the first day when we were talking about the floaters story, the first day I was actually writing Immortal Era. It wasn't until the homeless woman came after me that floaters it came into my head. But I knew I was going to be spending the next day stuck in waiting rooms as well. So I just thought, you know what, let me be productive. Whenever I have a chance to sneak in productivity, instead of just fumbling around on your phone and playing a bunch of dumb apps, why not be productive? And that's where you have to find the balance. But I love Matt's idea of that list, that daily list, because I try to, okay, it's lunchtime. I need to make sure I do an Instagram post that will be shared to Facebook about my book, and make sure that, you promote the Kickstarter again, because the algorithm is going to hide it 12 times. But if you post it 15, then that means someone will see it on, time number 13, 14, or 15. So it's doing that. But I like the idea of, okay, here's the daily list, accomplish as much as you can, because I coach track and cross country. So I have, like Matt, I have obligations that keep me busy after work, but it's just, that's why break times are squeeze in the book time. So yeah, these are all good ideas, and I don't think anyone is a master at it, but we all have books on the table. So obviously we figured something out, and we're ahead of some people. So what do you have? If anyone out there has a good idea, and as Sarah was saying, ADHD makes it really hard, but I think it also sometimes makes it easier because my mind never stays in one direction. So it's like, okay, right now I'm thinking about teaching math. Well, no, let me write a couple pages for brain moves in 85 directions at one time. Sometimes helps me. Sometimes it's a damn pain in the ass and I can't focus for a half a minute. But I think the being able to quickly turn from take off the teacher hat, put it on the now you're writing a comic book hat, to now you're posting on your social media hat. Attention sometimes is your friend.
Well, I think too, for Ed and for Fred, one of the things about having a list, especially if you feel like you've got ADHD and you're all over the place, if you're keeping a list of every little menial thing, then in your brain you're telling yourself, I accomplished this goal. If you're like, I've got to get out there and I've got to go promote on social media and I've got to do all these things, if you're not logging each one of those things, you've done 6 loads of laundry and you put 3 away, well, you haven't really finished your laundry yet. So you still have that thought in your brain of, I've still got to do laundry. But if you're like, I washed one load, I put one load away, that's done. I washed one load, I put one load away, that's done. Your brain is going to be like, hey, that's good, that's positive. I've accomplished things. So it's like, hey, I put a post on Instagram, I've accomplished it. I put it on Facebook, I accomplished it. I did my Substack, I accomplished it. Then you're like, okay, what else do I have to do? I've got Blue Sky and Twitter. Those are new things to accomplish, but you've already accomplished other things. And I think that that'll help a lot of small victories.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good idea, and I will definitely be stealing it. And the beauty is, next week I'm off for Thanksgiving break. We get the full week off in my school, and I can start the list when I don't have to balance work and the creation. And then when I get back to work, modify it, because of course you won't be able to accomplish as many things in the day when you do have to work. And I do after school programs. I teach kids writing comics. I do a program for that. I do kids doing we do a podcast at our school. So I keep busy, but knowing, okay, now cut the tasks and I write my lesson plans down for work. So why not write kind of like lesson plans for creation? So Matt, I will be stealing your idea. And that's why I wanted to do this topic, because I was banging my head against the wall. Like, what the heck am I going to do? And when you have the expertise of a room, like Fred was saying, it's great because you can pick the brains of other people and pull out a few great nuggets in there. And hopefully any other creators that are watching can be like, ooh, Matt, I'm definitely stealing that idea. So
I am very motivated by just the simple psychological reward of checking a box. It really is very simple, but it's like there is fewer things action item. And so it's just like, we've got monkey brains, right? So it's just like find a way to feed your monkey brain in the way that is like good for you. And it's just find those ways to like almost trick yourself, like give yourselves those little rewards, whatever they are.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? People thrive on rewards. My class, I give them a little sticker or a stamp and they're thrilled. But you know what? I'm an adult. I'll still take my sticker or stamp.
Oh yeah.
It's like, all right, yay, stamp. And I'll, the box is checked and you can cross it off. And it's just a beautiful feeling. So yes, Matt, I will be adopting your idea. And hopefully when we talk again, you can say like, how's it going? I'll be like, oh, I accomplished, 4 tasks today. So yeah, I love it. And cool. I will definitely be stealing it. Because I know you're like me. You're busy. You have other things, other commitments too. So it's good. Someone I know that, you have as much busy as I have. And you're not just saying, oh, I'm too busy. I can't do it. So it's beautiful. But now let's talk about some campaigns. We have, Matt, do you have one live right now?
So I do, but what we have live right now is on BackerKit.
Okay, and I put the link in there so I can.
Yeah, so I sent it in Facebook chat because it's a lot.
I will grab it from there.
Yeah, so we just finished Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, the finale on Kickstarter. If you're somebody that wants to late pledge to it, we are almost to the point where we're ready to send it off to print. So it's tinyurl.com/AirsTPP5. We're going to be launching Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress, number 2, late January. That's tinyurl.com/Tatsumi2. But we are on BackerKit right now with BackerKit's Holiday Market, which is interesting. It's nobody has gigantic expectations. Even people that are doing normally 5-digit campaigns are still like I don't want to say struggling, but are still not even to $1,000. Like,
okay.
But what has been interesting, there were some things we talked about earlier that I was like, this campaign is a good example of some of the things we talked about. So in this thing, everything is supposed to be ready to ship. It's only a 2-week campaign. You're supposed to have everything that's ready to ship. So what we did was we're like, hey, we're going to put something from all 5 of our titles. Is my audio still okay? I can see my videos.
Your audio's good. I'm going to pull up the picture of it so we have it right here.
So everything's supposed to be ready to ship. So all 5 of our main titles have got some items up there. But one of the things that we found is really interesting, we've done about 80 different trading cards over the course of our Kickstarter campaigns. A lot of them were only available in those specific campaigns. So there are some from like 6 years ago that are hugely rare. We only did 70 foil of this card or 100 foil of that card. And they haven't seen the light of day where somebody could intentionally be like, I want to go there. Like, here's this set. If it's a super rare set, it's going to have prices that are super rare. I mean, there's times we sell them at our table. One card is $10. One card is $15. There's some sets that are $15 for a 20-card set. But we've started to put some of those up there, and most of that funds that are raised are coming from the fact that people bought these really rare trading card sets that they have. Some people are probably, dude, I became a fan of yours 5 years ago. I didn't even know this thing existed.
Yeah.
So it's been really neat seeing people gravitate towards those super rare collectibles. Now, some people have got our vinyl records. There's been a couple of people that picked up a cover here or there of something from a title that they didn't have previously. But we're like, hey, whatever, my branch and department. So if people are gravitating towards something, we're going to go and be like, hey, we're going to put more trading cards up there. That we have more sets we can put up there that I have to just go and see what I can find. Like there's one, I'm like, that's a 20 card set. What do we have? I'm like, I can put 8 trading card sets of this 20 cards up there. Mm-hmm. And people have started to buy those things. If that's what people are gravitating towards, we're not going to try to force them to buy cover A from something. We'll go to the stuff that's more collectible that they may not have been able to get elsewhere. So that's what's up here. This Backer Kit launch goes from 18th through December 1st. Everything is designed to ship prior to the holidays. If you're somebody that backed the Perilous Prospects Book 5, the finale, and you back having to pay shipping double, or at least get you a benefit off of there. So it's been neat to be able to see how Backer Kit runs in the backside when they run a campaign. There's some things that are way better in the setup than Kickstarter. The biggest downfall for Backer Kit is that it exists on Backer Kit, but that's okay. That's where I'm putting some of the more collectible items up there. We do have a cross promo with Rob Moltari from Lone Wolf Comics, Night Wolf, Snowpaw. If you back both of our campaigns, digital or physical, we have a bunch of MP3s. Some of our MP3s are not on any of our albums. And he's got an MP3 of his theme song that'll all go to you guys free of charge.
Awesome. And I'm putting in the link to that. And then while you're talking, we have Tatsumi, which is coming soon. So we'll put that link in there too. And following costs you nothing. So if you follow, it helps the algorithm. It helps Kickstarter know that people are excited about this project. So even if you can't back, hit the follow button because that's right. Free. And it benefits the creators in ways that you wouldn't know. And it's that's one of those things that's so hard. So the follow button, they're like, no, you'll tell me when it's live. I'm like, no, please just hit it. Like, no, I don't need to do that. So trust us, it is beneficial for you to hit that follow button, and I will do it right now when I pull it up. And
we are super stoked about this Tatsumi #2 campaign. We've got a guest appearance from the band of the Dread Crew of Oddwood, which is actually a California band. They are going to be actually as a guest appearance in the issue. We had a spot that was perfect. We needed a band for, and instead of just making it up, like, why don't we ask our buds from the Dread Crew? Because it's exactly like it was literally like we wrote it for them, even though we didn't. But we backed it up to the end of January because they're going to be on a huge European tour with some of our other friends. Yeah. And we wanted to make sure they had the opportunity to still be involved in the campaign. So we backed it up to the end of January so that way they could take part and hopefully be able to get us a little bit of video footage and things like that as well. Yeah, that new header image is from Chess and Gwen, who've done a lot of our covers. They did the main cover for I Am Keto. They did the main cover for Tatsumi 1 as well. That's coming from their cover, The Women of the Side Stalker. And this is absolutely an SFW title. It is definitely not a NSFW title. So even if you've got a great class and not feel like you're going to get fired.
Yes, and they already know your book. They have the Misfits Clubhouse in my classroom library, and that is the thing. When we were talking earlier about adapting, kids still love comic books, and they still flock to the comic books in the library. In my classroom library, there are indie creators out there with kid-friendly books. I try to keep those kid-friendly books in my library, so then kids can also see that, hey, there's a whole wide variety of good comic books for us, not just, the Marvel and DC ones that are out there. So it's something that the kids love it. The Raina Telgemeier stuff, I mean, I get those books and the kids read them until they fall apart, and then I order them again and the same thing happens. So it's kids love comics. So even though things are going to change, kids still will gravitate toward those cool graphic novels. And I bought the multi-pack. So we have the Misfits Clubhouse in my classroom. We have it in the school library. So it's one of those comic books, and I get free ones when I do signings at Free Comic Book Day. The shop owners will give me the kid-friendly ones so I can throw them in there, and we have our graphic novel library section, and your book's right in there, and my quote's on there. So I got my street cred for the day Hopefully not being
Ed's
insulted by
quote,
another third
Ed's
grader.
quote about getting street cred with his third grade class is in his third grade class where he's got
it's right there.
Talk about going full
Yes,
circle.
it's getting too meta right now. All right, so let's take a look. So those links are in there in the chat. That's to follow it, and I realized that I was already following it. So it's 101 followers, and then we have the backer kit. You can head to both of those, pick it up. You can grab old stuff that you're missing, and now I'm a copy left of that variant. So I should have done it. I don't know if it's too late, but I think trying to do 2 campaigns at once might break my brain. So maybe next year. I think that's a great idea for those ones where you don't have enough copies to really put it on the Kickstarter, and plus you have to list so many damn things it becomes a pain in your add-ons. So I think to do that for just blowing out those last couple of certain books that you have is a beautiful idea. All right, so Nick, I'm going to pull yours up right now, and then you can tell us all about it.
For sure.
And I don't know if I backed it. I got to get on there. I definitely want to get this one.
Hey, all good either way. What's cool is, I mean, yeah, we passed our goal.
That's the best thing.
Yeah, right. So it's all gravy. I think, Ed, the last time we talked, it was before the campaign went live.
Mm-hmm.
I can't exactly.
Yeah,
remember.
It was in pre-launch at that point. I think.
Yeah,
you told us all about it, and we had the pre-launch page. So now we got everything. So tell us what this book's all about.
Yeah, so the Apostasy, really excited about it. As you can see, 8 days left. It's going until December 1st as well. So, just trying to really finish strong. It's a 48-page comic written by me with art by my friend Dave Schuler, who rocks. He made the book great. It's about a demon named Gainsbourg who lives in hell and works as a he encounters a soul that he doesn't believe deserves to be there, and kind of what he does, and how the story unfolds there. Kind of like Lone Wolf and Cub set in hell a little bit, because who doesn't love a Lone Wolf and Cub dynamic?
I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah, no. So it's great. Yeah, there's the cover right there, drawn and painted by Dave. It looks awesome. If you keep scrolling down, actually, we've got a really cool variant cover right there by the artist Sean Koss, which just looks sick. Super happy with that.
I love the mouth on his chest. Like, all right, or in his stomach, like teeth on the stomach. That's just cool.
Yeah, Dave.
You gotta love.
When we met, I knew he was great at making creepy creatures and weird monsters and things like that. So just with the script, I told him to go crazy and have fun, and he did not disappoint. So it was super happy with how the books turned out. And we met our goal, which is really exciting. So we're offering some goodies like stickers and book so far. We're going to be including for every backer, regardless of tier, an 11 by 17 poster version of the cover.
Sweet.
Just as an additional way to say thanks. And you can get it digitally. You can get the physical version of either cover. We've got a tier with both covers, and then right here we've got any sort of retailer who's interested. We got a retail bundle, 5 copies of the book for less than half the price, which, if I do say myself, I think is a pretty good deal. And so just looking at finishing things strong, and really happy, with super thankful to anybody who's willing to take a chance on the book, right? So all I can say is thank you times a million.
Awesome. Let me
get you've got an incredible dollars per backer amount on there. How do you think that you got it to where you got? What is it?
Yeah, I was on the show. I said you can't be too proud to rely on those friends and family, right? So definitely some of that is some friends and family members who took it upon themselves to be very generous, which I'm so appreciative about. Very, very happy about.
All right, so I'm gonna put that link and cover your face. Symmetry. Hold on. I gotta put the share button, and definitely hit that up. It's got a few days left. It's funded. You know you're getting your book. It's ready to go. That's the beauty. I love that. I never put a Kickstarter out unless it's ready to go, because I don't want to make people wait. So for this one, it's ready to go. Nick's gonna ship it as soon as Kickstarter. And are you thinking? When are you sending it to print?
So the goal, my goal is to send it to print probably sometime after New Year's. I want to, we gotta get like the extra stuff in there, like the thank you. So
yeah.
Fred, you're talking about how this book you're currently running is your second campaign. This is only my third, so like I'm right there with you, man.
Okay.
But so I've done that too, where like the book's not ready when you do the campaign, and then you're stressing on the back end of like, gotta finish it. These people are waiting. They gave me their hard-earned money. We gotta get it. With this one, I definitely wanted to wait until it was all done. But my goal for December is really to just get everything print ready to go. Get the file in order and send it off there, with then hopefully the goal of completing fulfillment, checking that box sometime in January for sure. So
yeah, and I love that. That's a good turnaround. I mean, I have books I'm still waiting for that are several years old. So if you're getting it in a couple months, that is definitely best case scenario. So I'm going to pull up the link for Fisticuffs, and then you can tell us all about it. So just a second. I want to make sure people can go there. That's the one thing I forgot. He was I'll put the link in there for mine or for his. So, but that's all right. They can do a quick search and find it if they're interested. Fisticuffs. It's not like there's, oh wow, which one of the 8 Fisticuffs am I going to pick from? It's like, no, you got one, and you can find it. So, all right, tell us a little bit about Fisticuffs.
Sure. One night stand has deadly consequences. It's a deeply personal story in the vein of books like Preacher and The Boys. I like to say as if it was directed by Martin Scorsese. It's got a very cinematic look. It is a character-driven story, deeply personal to him, or a Alex Large, and doesn't realize that he's closer in character to a George Costanza. It deals a lot. It deals with a lot of like dysfunction, a lot of self-importance, and a character that is very surface level. He likes to he likes his time to himself. He likes to be able to drink wantonly and not be responsible for anything. And following some of the events earlier on in our story, he winds up being in a position where he can no longer hide. So we have to find out, like, again, where his character lies. Is he able to like kind of fully commit to something larger than himself, or is he going to kind of like toe dip and kind of half measures, I guess is the term that we could use. So Fisticuffs is a 6-issue miniseries. This campaign involves books 1, 2, and 3. All 6 issues are drawn. So we plan to release 4, 5, and 6 on a steady schedule in 2026. Book 4 is being colored right now. Book 3 is being sent to the letters today. So, again, very steady flow anticipated. And where we're at right now, we are funded, but, there's still time to go. Anything can happen. And we actually want to, try and unlock some of our stretch goals, right? One of the things that I really want to get to is at $3,000, which we're only a few $100s away from, is a 10-page preview of our next project, Stan and I, called Metroidvania Black. It is a grimdark fantasy, kind of in this tradition of like video games like Blasphemous and Hollow Knight, with like Stan's kind of like larger than life epic action and kind of like some, again, deeply personal themes in the characters. And then at $3,500, if we are so fortunate, and I hope we are, we have a cover that is limited only to the Kickstarter. We are going to print it to order and vault it forever, right? So if we hit there it is. If we hit $3,500, we're going to upgrade it for all backers to foil. So you can get this kind of like one-of-a-kind thing, and it'll be, nice and shiny, because as you can see, our girl, she deserves to shine and, have a little extra bluster to her. So we hope we're able to get there. We hope you'll support us. And most of all, just take a chance, right? Like, I'm a new creator. Hardest thing to do is get eyeballs on it and have people kind of like, take a chance on it, right? Yes. So I think we have a really strong story. The feedback seems to be very good. So, to quote a movie that's, all about selling things, if you put your faith in myself and JT Marlin, or in this case, Fisticuffs, we will never have to ask for it again. So again, I just hope you guys take a chance on it, and you'll be able to, stick with us for the long haul. So thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm backing. I'm ready to get that. It sounds like a great story. I love the artwork that you have for that one as well. So now we'll quickly talk about my Kickstarter, so I don't spend as much time, but let me share it real quick. So this is Floaters, body horror one shot, and it is, let me share it so we actually see it. It is a story that I wrote while in hospital waiting rooms. We talked a little bit about that earlier. And the premise of the story is it's how eye floaters are not actually just accumulations of gel in your vitreous fluid. Instead, they go over your brain and make you completely lose your mind. So you start seeing things that aren't real. You start to become more and more homicidal, and you would start causing harm to others that you would have never done it before in the past. So we have 4 different covers. This is the Dan Schmidt cover. He's the main artist of the book. We have a black and white version. We're going to do it in black and white because one of the things that kind of inspired it was Junji Ito and all of his kind of crazy stuff that he makes. So I thought, why not do one in black and white? And that one's going to be extremely limited. I'm only going to do 25 of the black and white ones because people like their comics in color, and the colors are beautiful in this book. So, you actually want the color one. I do have it as an add-on. You can get the black and white as a PDF. So this cover is by Cesar Oliveira. He is my main artist for Immortal Era, and he did one for this. This is William Russell's in this world, and that's when the floaters have taken over. And once you see the floater face, it's too late. And then this one by Fish Lee, we see the floater face leaving the house that is where the story begins and ends, and kind of loosely based on a house that I had when I was a kid, because I lived in the high desert. And if you're in California, that's the kind of area where lots of people have tires on their roof holding down the tarp to block the rain. It's not an uncommon occurrence. So you can get Immortal Era Dan Schmidt cover. Since Dan Schmidt did the art for this one, I'm putting this one in there, and it's an homage to an EC comic, the Weird Fantasy, and I have that graded as well. So if you're someone who likes the graded stuff, it's there. We have be able to be sold on this campaign. We have a t-shirt with the Fish Lee cover, and the Fish Lee cover will be the foil cover, so it should look really good. And then here's the first few pages, not lettered yet. They're being lettered right now. And then you can see kind of Maya's great colors. I love how she did the kind of the sirens and the reds and the blues. And then we get immediately a decapitated head flying out the window. And I realize, I guess that's just my thing, decapitated heads in all my books. And then kind of just a quick preview of everything. So it's not funded yet, but it is getting close. I believe it is at, let's see here, 1738 out of 2000. So we're close. And I wish I could get some of those fat averages that I'm seeing with Fred's. That would be nice, but we'll make it in for this particular book. I know some people say, why would you run a campaign right now? It's a terrible time for a campaign. My answer is I'm banking on and crossing my fingers for a good Black Friday sale from Comics Wellspring. They've done really good ones in the past years, and I want to send it to print next week. So that's why I'm running the campaign to kind of take the edge off. But my hope is that they'll do another one of their really good Black Friday sales, and I can send this thing to print and get it at the best possible price. And then the only negative thing is you have to pay for that overpriced holiday shipping, which is not the best. But I'm hoping that people, if printing goes quickly, and they've been good the last couple times I've used them. If printing goes quickly, I'm hoping to have these in people's hands before out of my own control, because I can't make them print the books faster. And if they do a big Black Friday sale, that also means tons of people are going to be using that Black Friday sale, which will slow things down. But the fastest I can get it to you, as fast as I can get it to you, that's when I will. So my hope is by the end of the new year, but a lot of that is out of my own control. So, all right, those are our campaigns. Definitely check those out. Go through the chat. You can find the links, back issues. This is the time to pick it up. Those vinyl albums are calling my name. I think I might need to get those because I already got some socks. Because I was telling them at my school, one of our spirit days is Crazy Sock Day, and I own like 2 colored socks, black or white. Crazy's not in my sock vocabulary, but Matt had socks that were crazy, so I'm like, there we go.
We got socks on there too. We got more socks up there.
So yes, and I ordered my socks in the last campaign, but like I said, those vinyl albums are calling my name, and you said you can combine the shipping, so that might need to be something. Let's let everyone know where we can find you. So Nick, where can we find you out there in the social media world?
Yeah, so on Instagram, all this is going to be pretty simple. At Unearthly Comics, you can find that on Instagram. You can find our publisher page on globalcomics.com, which is a really great site. And then you can also visit our website, which is www.unearthlycomics.com, where you can order physical copies of our books if you want to. And then, of course, just search The Apostasy on Kickstarter while it's still live.
It's funded. It's ready to go. So, yeah, you won't be waiting an eternity. You'll have it with a pretty quick turnaround. So, Fred, where can we find you on the socials? Oh, you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. You can find me at Schwartz Art LLC, all one word, on Instagram, Facebook, X, and all the big ones. You can find me at www.schwartzart-llc.com. And of course, you can find Fisticuffs on Kickstarter. We close out on Wednesday at 9:55 p.m. Once again, any support would be really appreciated. This is a deeply personal project, and we really want to get this one closed out strong. So thank you.
Awesome. All right, Matt, where can we find you out there?
All right, so if you go to linktree.com/InSymmetry Creations, that's INFRD, to our different titles, to our website, to our Substack, to our music videos that go along with the different metal albums. All that stuff is there. We're going to be adding a new feature to Steph's page where she's got all of her articles that she's written for Fangoria, Horror Geek Life, Creepy Kingdom, etc. They're going to be a new feature on that starting this week coming up. So that's going to be pretty cool. But then also, if you want a late pledge to Heirs of Isildur, you want to go to tinyurl.com/heirs, HEIRS, TPP5. You can go to the same tinyurl.com/Tatsumi2 to follow the pre-launch, or go to BackerKit and go to their holiday market and look up Team and Sim, and you can see the different things, the collectibles, and the other issues that we have up there if you want to get something in time for the holidays.
Sounds good. So yeah, go to all those, check them out, grab these while they're still live. You can find me at Finish Line Comics on all the different socials, and yeah, search Floaters. We're the only one that I believe we're the only one that's on there. That's the comic right now. So search it up if you want to live through the pain that I dealt with in a fun comic book way, then I will give my pain to you. So we're going to close things out with the trailer from Floater. So check it out, and I will see you on Monday. We will be on Critical Affection with Sarah, talking Wicked, and hopefully I haven't lost my mind from singing in the theaters. We'll see.
So,
bye.
Are you or someone you love experiencing eye floaters?
Doctors will tell you they're harmless, tiny clumps of vitreous gel drifting across your vision. A simple byproduct of aging. But I'm here to tell you the truth. Floaters aren't harmless. They're parasites. Silent, patient invaders that burrow into your mind. They turn you against those you love until violence feels inevitable. If you've begun to see them, seek solitude. Those around you are no longer safe. Your thoughts are not your own. Flee while you still can. Don't trust yourself, and whatever you do, don't trust your eyes.